Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge in the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2022 Charles Schwab Challenge. This is, of course, my DFS pick show. Of course, I'm also going to do one and done. We're going to go through and do a ton of analysis for you guys, let you also be able to make your own decisions. But I'm going to give you my top 15 picks at the end of this. And with that said, let's talk a little golf. And first off and foremost, thank you for stopping by. Okay, so if you missed the show yesterday, I always go over my stroke gain analysis ranking. Nothing changed here, but if you missed yesterday, I wanted to just let you know where I'm focused on the skill set that I'm looking at and, of course, what I use to build the models. Number one, very heavily, it's all about approach, putting. We need guys to hit fairways here, not distance. If you do get a little wayward, we need to be able to scramble, get back in play, get on the green. The two main procs to the pins. This is, of course, your approach shot and how close you can get it to that flag stick. It's going to be 125 to 150 over 20%. And then you've got procs to the pin 150 to 175, around 25%. One of the defenses of this course is the par threes. There are 175 to 200. There's three of those that we're going to look at. And then a ton of these short par fours, 400 to 450. You got seven of those. And then last but not least, I put in, you're going to have to do some scoring here. Average score is about 15 under to win this thing. So we need guys that have better or birdie opportunities. So that is what I used in the large model. And as always, I like to understand who are the locals, the guys on tour that either live or played in this area before. So whenever we go to Texas or Florida, I always do this for you. And some of these are not going to be shockers, and there could even be maybe some that I missed. But everybody that I could figure I have added here, and then, of course, put them against my model rank for you. Of course, everybody knows Scotty Scheffler, of course, plays at Texas, still lives in the area. Mito Pierre plays at Texas Tech. You got Sebastian Munoz, played at Northern Texas. Hoagie played in Texas. You got Will Z, also, of course, played in Texas. And as far as I know, I think still resides there. Abraham Ancer, of course, was in Mexico, but also spends and lives now in Texas. Home course is the where they play the Valero for the TPC San Antonio. You got Austin Smartland, played at Texas Christian. Of course, Jordan Spieth lived and also played at University of Texas. You got Dan DeChambeau, who, as far as I know, still in the field. Played also at Texas Christian. Dylan Fratelli lives up in Austin. You got Doug Gim, also another Hook 'em Horns, Texas University. Ryan Palmer is probably the one unique one where, of course, he lives. Everybody knows that he's a Texan, but this is his home course. And hasn't always worked out so well when Ryan comes back to play his home course. But just so you know, Patrick Reed, of course, big Texan. Kramer Hickok. Carlos Ortiz also went to Northern Texas like Sebastian Munoz. Then you got Hosler, Higgs, and then Danny Lee. Of course, he's from New Zealand, but resides in, I believe, Irving, Texas. So that's your locals. And then, of course, where they rank on my model if you're interested. You could see that right here. All right, so from a comparable course side, I did add a couple additional courses. So I reran the model with those, and the two that I added, WGC, FedEx St. Jude, they play at TPC Southwind. I think it's a good comparable. Of course, Ancer won there last year. And I believe you had, Burns and Matsuyama that were in the playoff. But short course, I believe it's a par 70, 71. Has the trees, kind of an old style course. So I wanted to throw that in there. And then I also threw in PGA National, par 70, around 7,100 yards. Now, that is Bermuda greens, but again, there's some similarities. So that actually gave me a sample size of, 9 comparable courses. And with that said, number one, I came out with HV3, Harold Varner, against my model. Daniel Berger, Munoz, DeChambeau. You've got Tringali, who showed up quite a bit. It's kind of interesting. I don't think he could win this thing, but it could be interesting from like a top 5, top 10. Of course, Kevin Na has won a couple of these tournaments. I mentioned the Sony, and then also, of course, at the Charles Schwab. You got Glover, who won the John Deere. Seabez kind of makes sense. Good short game, good putter. Ancer, of course, won the WGC FedEx St. Jude. I already mentioned that, but has also showed up these other venues. Svensson was my long shot. You got a Gooch. Charlie Hoffman, which has always done well in Texas, but has just been terrible form, so I do not recommend him, just like when we went to Byron Nelson. Jordan Spieth has done amazing at this venue. You got Webb, that these courses fit him, but I'm still a little out on Webb and where his game's at. Matt McNeely typically does very well on shorter tracks, which is kind of odd. I mean, he's done well at AT&T, Pebble Beach, but does have the length off the tee, but that just seems like where he fits. Gary Woodlands has some success at this track at Colonial. Griot back when he was just deadly with the irons, but he's kind of faltered a bit. CT Pan and then Patty Kazire had a good showing here. I think twice he's had a good showing at the Charles Schwab. All right, so that just gives you an understanding of the comparable courses I'll be looking at and how I've also helped me on my decision process. All right, with that said, let's go jump over to Fantasy National and let's do some analysis on these guys and see where I'm falling. Okay, so I've jumped over to Fantasy National, and as always, my quick plug for them, check out fantasynational.com. If you are doing your own research and analysis and pulling it from a bunch of different places, I promise you can't beat what Fantasy National offers, especially if you are focused on golf, because that's all they do. So I am going to be looking and leveraging DraftKings pricing. So of course, if you use a different, if you're on FanDuel or Yahoo or whatever you do, you still use these picks, just the pricing is going to look quite a bit different. I'm going to be pulling the last 24 rounds of data because, again, it's a good sample that I like. It still keeps recent form, but a larger sample than the 12. I've already went through and filtered some of these guys by those comp courses. But right now, what you're seeing is just all courses turned on. So that's all the recent tournaments, which would be, again, 24 rounds or 6. And then, of course, I got my mini model as always here, highlighting the areas that are the key strategic ones. So kind of like a simplified versus my larger. Approach is heavily weighted at 30%. Good drives, I believe, is over 20-some percent. You got putting, those par fours because there's 7 of them, and then opportunities gained. Here you're going to be able to see how they've done over the last 24 rounds from birdies obtained. So it's a kind of nice flow graph. We want to see guys, hopefully green on the end here. And then as always, you get to see recent results, and we'll look at tournament history, which is nice. It's been a while since we can actually reference the tournament history because every place we've been has either been one-offs or so long ago or a new course or whatever. So with that said, I've of course identified my 15 guys, but I'll do quick walkthroughs through all of them. And right off the bat, right, you land at the 11,000 area. You got a decision to make if you want to play one of these guys. You got Scotty Scheffler or JT. And I'm already going to tell you my narrative to a bit is I am going to be fading the guys that were either in the playoff or at, like Mito, who, faltered on his last hole. JT, even though as far as I know, he's still in the tournament, of course, probably staying with Jordan Spieth and family. So, it's a close little jaunt. I don't think that Justin can't play well here. I'm just interested in Scotty Scheffler, and I'll tell you the reasons why. And I've got a few of them. First off, you see a projected ownership. A lot of people are jumping off the Scotty bandwagon. So for an extra $200, I still get the world number 1. I get a local Texan. I get a guy that I think is going to want to come out, and he's not happy about missing that cut. I'm sure at the PGA is going to want to prove something. I think every time he goes to a tournament, he does take it that he wants to win that tournament. Now, what I mean by that is if you take like a Dustin Johnson or maybe a Brooks Koepka, some of these guys, I do feel that if it's not a major or if under certain circumstances, they're there, but why are they there? And it's not always, I think, to win the tournament. Maybe it's a sponsorship obligation like what we saw with DJ at the RBC Heritage, things like that. So what I'm going to be leaning is Scotty Scheffler. Also, what you're probably not going to hear from anywhere else, and people probably looked over, is that the WGC Dell match play that takes place in Austin is also a very good comparable course. But the problem is we don't have data from that. But what we do know is that everything is a very good comparable, except the greens are Bermuda there. They're not bent. But how that course plays, the guys that do well there are also going to do very well at Colonial. So I'm still using it. Hence Scotty Scheffler won there recently. And of course he, came in runner-up last year. So that's also something for me that I'm using as a tipping point. I don't think I need to sell you on Scotty. Now, if you look at his tournament history here, a T55 and a miscut, that's also why I think people are off him from an ownership perspective. So I get that, but, was his game the same? I mean, we always know how from one weekend to another, how things can change in golf. So I like Scotty. I'm going with him. I can understand if you had your own kind of reasoning why you don't, but, that's where I'm landing. It was actually between him and Morikawa. JT for me is not even in the picture, and that's my own personal opinion and narrative. I think everything that he went into winning that PGA, I'm still shocked that he's going to play in this thing. But I think it's, hey, we're here. We're going to stay with Jordan. And, and I'm not saying that, hey, he could go out and win this thing. Um, he has stated at times that his focus can get off. I think it was even, he said it, I think his first day at the Masters, he just couldn't get focused. So I'm going to be shocked if he is really focused and wants to really go and win the Charles Schwab Challenge. That's my own opinion. Morikawa, it was really between, I actually had Morikawa selected before Scotty Scheffler. And I mean, everything that Morikawa should do fits this course perfect. He doesn't drive it long, but he drives it typically very accurate. He's one of the best iron players that we've ever seen, the last couple of years, between him and Justin Thomas. At times, Russ Henley also gets in that picture. You can see opportunities gained. He's number one. Approach, he's still ranked 6th over the past 6 tournaments. You can see he's had, not the greatest showing at the Valspar. He had a little stumble, the RBC, and the PGA Championship. Really his last best showing. Of course, he missed the cut. The Players, you can blame, of course, the conditions that he got stuck in. But his best showing was the Masters. And, of course, that was a move up like Rory on Sunday. Also, I told you guys, and I didn't bring this up on my recap, but I'm going to bring it up now, that I mentioned, I believe on the Before the Lock show, that he was going to implement a new putting methodology or strategy. And that was, right, marking his ball with a line, using that line to, help him putt. And I'm not blaming that 100%, of course, on why he putted poorly at the PGA, but he did putt poorly. We can go click on that and just look real quick how he actually flushed out. So you can see he lost 2.5 strokes at the PGA. He lost, 3 at RBC. We don't know exactly what happened at the Masters, the Valspar. So he's been on a little bit of issue there. You can also see the irons, gained a stroke at the PGA, lit it up at the RBC, but then again, just gained a stroke here, lost 2 strokes here again, wind conditions. Now, do I also think that Morikawa, of course, we know that he almost won this thing, right, with Daniel Berger won, missed a short putt to keep extending the playoff. I have no issues. Like I said, he was going to be my number one guy but the more I sat and thought about all these narratives, we'll call them, I'm going to land on Scotty Scheffler. That's where I'm going to go. Now, it wouldn't shock me that Morikawa could, like I said, win this thing. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I just want to let you know where my head's at, and that's why I'm going with what I'm going with. Jordan is simply, the guy has won here. I believe it was right before this, 2016. He loves this track. And also what tells you is even during his worst days of, stroking the ball, he still was producing at this course and at this venue. So there's nothing I can do. And of course, we know what he's been doing recently. I mean, won the RBC. I think he kind of lucked out on that, but that's neither here nor there. Losing 2.5 strokes putting. Almost won the Byron Nelson if he could have made a couple more putts. And then, of course, last year here, he also could have won this thing, but faltered against Kokrak. So I don't know if I have to sell you on Jordan Spieth, but everything here says I'm going to play Jordan and see how it all shakes out. Will Z, it came down to purely again, coming off what it just transpired at the PGA and losing in that playoff. And, also what I just saw at the Byron Nelson, where it wasn't a major. I don't know. Everything is kind of telling me at 10-1, I'd rather play Jordan or Victor, either or. So that's where I'm landing. Again, I already told you guys, I'm kind of fading the guys that were, already went through quite a process at the PGA, which was just a few days ago. So the guy that I'm going to go to is Victor Hovland. You can see he ranks number 1 in my model. It's not what it's all about, but I think this course fits him amazingly. It's going to be, and he doesn't need an around the green game. Like chipping here is simplified can be. It's going to be the putter. Can he get a little better putt luck? You can see the guy makes birdies. Last best showing was at the Arnold Palmer. Good showing at the Players. Maybe not the best recently. He played here once at a T23. I'm not going to go in. Well, we can go look real quick if you're interested. Of course, drives it over 300. Very accurate off the tee. The only place that he's shown over his career that he's gained on is POA. And I'm just going to click on this. So Mayakoba OHL, again, the vacation swing courses where he's done his damage. We can just kind of look through here, see if anything sticks out from a comparable. I said the Travelers would be the first one that kind of pokes to my mind. He's at an 11th. But I think Victor could do well here. I don't know, I don't have him pegged to win this thing, but top five definitely should be no issues. Burns, Burns and Homa, right? Those are typically my flavors that I like to play. Honestly, I've got no issues with either of these guys. I mean, out of the two, I would probably recommend Burns. And you know what? I'll probably sprinkle in Sammy Burns. Um, you can see he has a miscut, a T31. It's been a little while since he's played here. And then it's kind of been kind of a hodgepodge, right? So that's a bit of it where he had a couple miscuts here. Had a nice showing at the PGA. Um, let's go click on Burnsy boy. I guess for me, I don't think of Sam Burns as this is the best fit for him. Now, I just mentioned though the WGC St. Jude where he missed that playoff, so you could definitely reference that. The prior, Nelson, but I don't. That's Texas, but that's it. That's where that ends. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, he's had a couple good showings in Texas at the Houston Open. RBC, not a bad showing. I mean, like I said, I have no reason to tell you not to play Burnsy. Now, the projected ownership's got me a bit nervous, so that's part of it at 23% right now. But yeah, I will sprinkle him in, but he is not going to be one of my core plays this week or Max Homa. So the reason why is I'm falling to Abe Answer. I told you guys right off the bat, the first two bets I made was Kevin Na and Abraham Answer. We just saw, honestly, for me, the first sign of life for Abraham Answer was at the PGA and everything here. Of course, he also actually won that WGC FedEx event that I was talking about. He's had back-to-back 14s here. I mean, everything should fit Abe Answer perfect. It's just, can you keep the irons firing? You see he gained 4.5, and before that he was kind of struggling a little bit for him. But still has not lost a driver, and it's going to be the putter as always. That's going to come down. You can see his first and only win was at the WGC in St. Jude. This will be Quail Hollow, but there's the RBC, the Amex, the Travelers. I mean, you can kind of go through. This is a perfect course for him to do well, and so that's what I'm going with. Sungjae M, I just don't have a clear understanding. Did he actually have COVID? Was it a testing issue to get out of Korea and back in the States? There's not clarity. If you look at DraftKings, it's going to tell you, he had COVID. So we don't know if he was sick, was he not sick? And all I saw is that if guys coming off COVID, if they were actually sick, if it was 3 or 4 days, they don't play well. You can look at that time and time again. Of course, you can also see not the greatest history here. Now, if he was 100% healthy and we've got to see him play, I think he played over, of course, in Korea. I don't even know how he finished. I didn't even look. I don't really care, I guess. I also don't think he's been in that amazing a form. So I'm out on him. Just not enough clarity. Tony Finau, could he have he's had a good showing here way back in 2019. The putter is just it's god awful, and I just can't stomach it. So I'm out on Finau. I'm going to go to Berger, of course, past champion here. The first, as I mentioned, the first of it, coming out of COVID, he won. This is a Daniel Berger course. I mean, everything, again, if you watch, you can see projected ownership's ridiculous. Almost 28% right now, at least what's showing. But he does everything we need, except, this isn't Bermuda. He, like a Burns, putts better. You can see he just could not putt for whatever reason last weekend on those very slopey, slow greens. He was also not firing the iron. So I'm actually kind of shocked that right now, projected ownership, right now, he's the highest I've seen. But I think everybody, if you're smart, that everything tells you. I mean, he won Pebble Beach. He's won the St. Jude at the course I was just telling you about. He loves that track. The Travelers, the Honda. I mean, over and over, this is a perfect Daniel Berger course to do very well at, again, like an Abraham Answer. So that's my guy. Nope on Gooch. Again, even though, his first win was at RSM. So can he play these short courses and be effective? Yes. So I might sprinkle him in. Let's go click on the Gucci for a moment here. Pretty accurate. Does gain on bent. Just wanted to see what he did from a stroke gain. Positive in every area. I told you he won the RSM, which I think is a pretty decent comparables. Has some success in Texas. Just going to scroll down just to jog my brain. I mean, we're always thought of Gooch as, is that like the Genesis or the Wells Fargo, like a very Torrey Pines, for the farmers. Like, give me a long, tough track that you have to be very good with ball striking from a distance. That's the courses I like to play, but like I said, when he came out, won RSM, that kind of changed everything I had in that thought. So no problem. I will sprinkle him, especially if ownership stays at this side. I'll definitely. I actually think is a pretty good pivot from Burns. Would be Gooch. Tommy Fleetwood's been playing great golf, no issues. I don't think he can score enough here. Like I say, he had that T5 at the PGA. Look at the projected ownership. Maybe this is where he gets his first win on American soil, but nope, not for me. I've got some other guys where I play. Webb Simpson, I told you, again, had a good showing at the PGA. I think his game is still broken, but maybe he's figured something out. Right, he had that neck injury. Maybe it's just taken a while to get back, but you can see the putting. Maybe let me see. I'm guessing he had to gain with the putter finally. Yep, he gained 2 strokes, but you can see before that he was losing with the putter. It was probably back the CJ Cup back in the fall of 2021 was the last time that he really gained anything of significance. And with Webb Simpson, that's got to be a weapon for him. If it's not, I think he's just like another dude in the field. So I'm gonna stick out a Webb. I already told you about Mito. No reason. He's been in great form. Of course, I don't have to sell you. I also think of Mito on a little longer, tougher tracks, but I mean, yeah, I've got no issues if you want to play him. I just think how hard is that to turn around and focus now on this tournament after what just happened? So I'm going to go ahead and be out of Mito. I'm actually going to go to Billy Horschel. I think this is a perfect course fit for him. I haven't really heard many people talk about him. I mean, his past history here, he's made the cut every time. His best was a T19. But of course, again, that's your past champion at Austin for the Dell match play the previous year. He also did very well this year. I think he made the Final Four, I think. So I have no issues. I like Billy Horschel. I think some people, like a Patrick Reed at one time, people just don't like to play him, don't like him. But you can see gains on bent over his career. He's a good putter. He's been a really good ball striker. You can see he won the Byron Nelson, different course in Craig Ranch, but it is Texas. That's where they played. I believe what's that, Trinity Forest? TPC 4 Seasons. Okay. Let's go back here. Trying to see what else. Anything recent. The Wyndhams, short track, RSM. Some success of Valero a while back. There's the St. Jude at TPC Southwind. Valero again. RBC, Wyndham. I think of him also a bit on the Bermuda side, like a Burns, but he can also putt on bent. So I like him. You can see ownership's up there, so I'm not the only one that's, kind of looking. I just haven't heard anybody else talk about him. Davis Riley, I think he's a great play here. Now, the irons make me a bit nervous, but he's been putting lights out. You can see he's been doing a lot of things very well. And let's go click on him real quick. We don't have a lot of comp course history, but he gets it out there. He's very accurate. You see, he's had a ton of success on past Palm, but there's just not enough data from a putting side. But the guy's been, as you see, what we have, he's gained with the putter. It's the irons that can cause him a bugaboo, but he just, last 2 events, he's gained over 6 strokes and almost 4 strokes with the irons. So I'm hoping the irons stay there. He also lost putting, which I think is how I see him right now. He's a very, gained 9 strokes at the Mexico, gained 7 at the Valspar. I think that's kind of one of his elite weapons. We haven't seen enough data on him to confirm that, but that's what I think. I think he's really good off the tee, really good putter. The irons, it could be hit or miss. So I like Davis Riley. I'm going to play him. DeChambeau, I know he's 100-1 in the betting market. Like, if he plays, which I'm right now, I've not heard anything he's not. I don't know why he would. I don't know why this guy just does not take some time off and let that hand heal, but no way. He wasn't even playing that good, as you see, when he wasn't actually hurt, and then even take it back further. So let's go look at Mr. DeChambeau real quick. So, yeah, I mean, even at the Farmers, as far as I know, I don't know if he got hurt then, but the Tournament Century Champions, there was 38 guys in that field. He ended up 25th. So that, the Tour Championship, to be like the FedEx Cup is the last time that guy was playing some solid golf. So I like DeChambeau. I mean, I don't have any issues with him, but I don't like to play him right now. It's going to take me a little bit to make sure he's back 100%. Now, taking a outright bet on him, I can see that. If you're getting 100-1 or whatever, why not? Throw a few bucks on it. Knock yourself out. Kokrak, right? You past champion here. Didn't really see that coming, even though, you could see at the T3 the previous year, even though I think I mean, it's shown he can manage smaller courses very well. He doesn't even hit it that far. I mean, with all the guys now, I mean, driving distance average 310, but I'm just saying it's not like he's, I don't know, DeChambeau. I mean, there's guys out there that hit it further than him on a consistent basis. What I've noticed is the putter's got to pop, right? So if we go to his Charles Schwab, he gained 5.5. The Houston Open, when he won, he gained almost 9. And then the CJ Cup, I mentioned, that is bent. That's bent. And then this Houston Open, it has to be Bermuda, yeah. But again, kind of a shorter course. I mean, I don't have any issues. He's not going to make my top 15. His game's been kind of back and forth this year. So I'll sprinkle him, but he's not going to make the core 15. The guy that you guys just know how much I love to play, but I told you guys there's certain venues that when Kevin now plays, he knows this is where he has to strike, and this is one of them. And of course, past champion a couple of years ago, you can see his irons have been just en fuego. His putter, he hasn't even tapped into the potential. So if we go look at what he's been doing with the putter, the guy's got an elite short game. You see his best surface is bent over his career. But you can see he lost 5 strokes at the Mexico, right here. His best showing was a PGA. So that maybe is a sign that was bent greens, but they're slow. CJ Cup. So if he does what he can do, I mean, if he just gains like 5 strokes with the putter, the guy should be right there, top 5 contention. Contention. Bubba Watson, no. I mean, there's been some chatter about him. Yeah, he had that great day. What was it, Friday or Saturday? Probably Saturday, that he shot 63, I think it was. So, but no, not for me. Gary Woodland has some success here. I understand it. I'm just Gary Woodland right now. I almost look at him as like a Ricky Fowler. Now I know he's had better, but I just think he's still just his putter is horrific. He's kind of on and off of the ball striking at times. But like I said, for the price, it's not a terrible play. I get it, but not for me. I'd rather go to Chris Kirk, a past champion here. This, you could see it was a while. I think it was 2015 when he won, and he's got a T11, a T15. He had a nice showing at the PGA, but also had a couple missed cuts where, like the RBC, you wouldn't think he'd miss cut. So there's some volatility, but you can see everything else has been going well. It's the putter, which when I think of Chris Kirk, typically I think of a pretty damn good putter. You can see bend is his best surface, but it's not amazing. And then I see this, and it kind of tells me, okay, everything else is great, but the putter, I guess, is the issue. But you see just when he gained like a stroke and a half, what he did at the PGA, had his little run here back on Bermuda, then kind of had the faltering. So maybe he gets back on a little streak with that putter. Past champion here. Let me verify that. I'm almost 100% sure. I think he won it in 2015. Yep, Charles Schwab, 2015. Just wanted to verify. And you can see he gained over 7.5 strokes. He did that, but gained on approach. Don't need to gain a lot off the tee. HV3. Again, I almost put him in the Jason Kokrak kind of model, but I think Kokrak's a better putter, or has been a better putter for the last couple of years since he added that inch to his putter. Kind of was like a whole new found world for him. But yeah, it's going to be all about the putter. I'm not worried about the driver here, but he's been playing some solid golf. I mean, a T6, a T3. He's done pretty well here, a T19, a T32, 7,800. I always, was shocked at what he did at RBC, and he's done it multiple times at RBC Heritage. Now, I think that's a great comparable course. Now, different green types, but small greens, you can't, there's tree lined, old style course, par 71. I think it's somewhere around 7,200, 7,100 yards. So, okay. So the next guy that I'm falling to is Brian Harman, the lefty. And of course, this should fit perfect for Brian Harman. Been playing good golf. Been gaining on approach. You can see on every area within the model. Projected ownership's up there a little bit, but recent results have been great. You see at a T5 at Valspar. Missed a cut at the Masters, but did well at the Heritage, the Wells Fargo, which is, again, at Avondale Farms, great fit. Pretty good showing at the PGA. And then, of course, really good course history here at Colonial. Best showing is a T7 back in 2017, but even had a T8 last year and a T14 in 2018. And if I go click on Mr. Brian Harman, you can see he doesn't hit the ball very far, but very accurate, which we want. Does gain on bent, not his best surface, but is a good putter all around. And you can see the irons have been firing. Off the tee, you can't take a whole lot of that because he doesn't have the distance. So that's what gets calculated there. But typically, he is going to hit the fairway, so no issues there. And if he keeps gaining with that putter, we should be all set. So I'll be playing Brian Harman in the core plays for the $7,800. Justin Rose is actually a little interesting. I actually mentioned on my show for the PGA, I said he could be a sneaky play. Now, I didn't play him, but I didn't do a ton in the big, large GPP game. But he actually ended up to be, as you see, a T13 at the PGA. He does very well on these par fours. All in all, you can see, good play. And then also he is a past champion here in 2018, so he likes the course. So he's not making my core plays, but I will be sprinkling in some Justin Rose to kind of mix things up. I'm actually going to fall to Sebastian Munoz, who actually had a chance to win here last year, ended up T3, missed the cut the year before. But Munoz is my guy. I know that he can go off and go super low and do very well, but it all comes down to the putter. But you can see T to green's doing well. The putter is, like I said, could be the hiccup. We go click on Sebastian. His, I believe, only win came at Sanderson Farms, which, definitely I think is a tougher course than this one, but had a good showing, of course, at the Byron Nelson, where he came out was first round leader, shot that, 12 under or some crazy that I bet him. I'm going to wait to see the tee times, and I will tell you guys on the before the lock show some of my first round bets that I'll be putting out there. I think from memory, Kevin Na has been the first round leader at this tournament, I think 3 years out of the past like 4. So I'm going to look and see where he falls. But you can see Charles Schwab, RSM, John Deere. He went nuts on some of the putts he made there. I mean, it shows he gained 3, but where was the one? So there's a Charles Schwab last year where he gained 10 strokes. He will go crazy with the putter, and those are some bent greens we're talking about. So I like Sebastian. I don't think Seabez is a bad play. I mean, nothing is sticking out that looks awesome. I mean, funny enough, projected ownership is 0. So I don't know, maybe if he's withdrawn, I haven't looked. But I think he would be a pretty good play here. Pretty good showing recently at the AT&T. Of course, he missed cut the PGA. But his skill set, let's go take a look at him right now. So very accurate, not long off the tee. Typically a very good putter. You don't need to be a good chipper here. And the irons haven't been terrible. They're not great, but that's typically where if I think of him where he's kind of had a miss. So I don't understand that projected ownership. Like I said, unless something happened where he withdrew and I don't even know it. But I think he's a good play. I'm going to fall to Hoagie, though. Of course, Texan, has a couple missed cuts here, but the guy has been just crazy with the irons. It's all going to come down to putter with Tom Hoagie. Of course, his win was at his inaugural one was at Pebble Beach. You can see again, doesn't hit the ball super long, but very accurate. And then also he had that I think he was in a playoff, right? Nope, sorry, that was incorrect. All right, so we look at Tom Hoagie. Of course, I mentioned the win recently at Pebble Beach. Not a terrible comparable course, but the Amex, the Greenbrier is actually an amazing comparable. I didn't put in old TPC White because it's been a while since they've been there, but that's actually very interesting. I just think of Joaquin Niemann, who had his first win was at Greenbrier. You got the Sony RSM. I mean, just should be a perfect fit. I'm excited about Tom Hoagie. I've also bet him at 70 to 1. So side note, I think I mentioned Tringali. For some reason, just keeps popping up. Again, I don't think he'll win this event because he just typically struggles on Sundays when he is in contention. But a top 10, I think it's a great bet. CT Pans had some, decent success here at a T3 back in 2019. Been playing pretty solid golf, so no issues. Might be a sprinkle. Matt McNeely, he was actually in my short list to make the cut here, but then I had a couple other guys below him that I wanted to play, but I think he's a great play. You can see pretty good success here in the past. He's, had great success at Pebble Beach. So some of the shorter tracks, he's done very well. His game's not been in perfect form recently, but it's got some distance off the tee, pretty accurate. Has gained on bent over the sample data we have. You can see the irons have been a little bit of a miss, but, back at the Valero and the Players. If he would have putted a little better, could have definitely been in better contention. Let me click on this. He's a Fortinet. That is at Silverado. Not too bad of a comparable. It's a par 72, but it is bent. Let's go back. I hate when that happens. All right, so there's the AT&T, RBC, AT&T. Got the Honda is not a bad comparable. There's the John Deere. So yeah, no issues. I will sprinkle in Mad McNeely. Again, somehow ownership's not showing up. So I think it's an issue that's going on Fantasy National. Scrolling down, I'm going to skip Ricky Fowler. Sorry, Ricky. Kevin Kisner. So we talked about the WGC Dell match play over in Austin. Of course, you know, he's a past winner there. He's also every time competed. This course should fit him now. If you look at recent form, not so hot. But you can see he's a past winner here back in 2017. So if we look at where he's done his best, of course, past winner, as I mentioned, 2017, 2015. I mean, the guy loves this tournament. So no way. I told you it's a horses for courses kind of tournament. So I'll be playing some Kevin Kisner. Reed, of course, local Texan, but no thank you. I think EVR is a better bet than a DFS play. If he gets crazy hot with those irons in the putter, could definitely happen. Troy Merritt, for some reason on DraftKings Sportsbook, they don't want you to bet him. I think it was like 50 to 1. I think you can get him like 100 to 1 in other places. But, you know, he had a 7th here. I guess, you know, someone's feeling like he could do very well. I think he could do well here. So I'll sprinkle in Troy. Ryan Palmer, this was one that I was kind of on the fence about because I think I picked him last year. I mentioned this is his home course, and he kind of came out and struggled. I think he made the cut. Let's see here. Yeah, T32. So his first opening day was bad, but he has had a T6 here. I mean, if anybody knows this course, also what he did at the Byron, I feel like his game, I think he mentioned, is, you know, kind of getting back to form. The putter could be very hit or miss, but I like Ryan Palmer. Let's click on him real quick. You know, still got some pop in his bat. You know, can get a little wayward. It's the putter that's going to kind of hamper him. I mean, the guy's been on tour now forever, but he has a win at the Sony a long time ago. Shows up at the Farmer. There's Jack's Place at Memorial. There's the Honda again. I mean, this is older stuff. Let me see if there's anything new. Tournament of Champions. There's the Sony again. Shows up. The Honda, not too far ago. There's St. Jude, but that's a long time ago. There's a Byron Nelson at Craig Ranch just recently. There's Charles SCHWAB a long time ago. There's Charles SCHWAB. So the guy loves this course. Of course, he wouldn't be a member there. I'm on him. I think he could do very well. And I think that's it for my top 15. So let's go jump back over. Let me summarize this for you and then get you guys out of here. Okay, so to summarize my top 5 plays for the Charles SCHWAB from a DFS perspective, again, I think you can use these in cash game, anything, but this is kind of more focused on the GPP. This is what I call my Fab 5. Told you I'm going right back to Scotty Scheffler, #1 player in the world in Texas. I think he's going to want to come out and prove something. He's had kind of a lackluster at the Byron Nelson, misses a cut at the PGA. He's going to want to come out and prove a point, and I think he can do very well here. So I'm on Mr. Scotty Scheffler. Of course, Jordan Spieth in Texas has done amazing here. Even when he was not playing well, he still played well here. So no reasons why you're not going to play Mr. Jordan Spieth. Victor Hovland, he just needs the putter, right? I mean, the guy's elite, tee to green, doesn't have to chip, so no reasons not to play Victor. Abraham Ancer been coming on as of late and has had good success here. Perfect fit. Of course, his only win was at the FedEx St. Jude, so no issues. I think this is a perfect fit for him. And then, of course, Mr. Berger, your past champion of 2020, and every course that Daniel Berger is going to show up and play well at is this exact type of course. So that's my top 5 guys that I will be building a lot of lineups with. Now moving on to my on deck, kind of filling in that middle section. Kevin Na, told you, first guy I bet. Of course, past champion. Kevin Na has about 5 to 6 tournaments a year that he has a chance to win. This is one of them. And then probably a little new. I don't know if I've actually picked Davis Riley for anything, but the guy's game should fit perfect here. Been playing great golf. Just needs those irons to fire. And if that happens, He could have a nice, again, top 10 finish. Billy Ho, WGC Dell match play winner. I mentioned that. This game also, he sets up typically Bermuda's where I kind of like him a little more, but his game should work perfect here. So I'm going to go with Billy Horschel. Of course, Chris Kirk, also past champion here. Smaller courses is where he's done his damage, so I like him a lot. And last but not least, on the on deck 5, I'm going with Mr. HV3, who, funny enough, has showed up, has played great, got a win overseas. And if that putter from 4 or 5 feet, if you could just make a few more of those, the guy's been ball striking excellent. So that would be my top 10 guys. And then for last but not least, my unsung, the last 5 guys going in. Tom Hoagie, right? He's got the Texas ties. Been playing amazing. He's got a recent win at the Pebble Beach, so I like him. Sebastian Munoz just been ball striking the crap out of it. Had a 3rd place here last year. The guy should do well. Also played at North Texas. And then you got Mr. Kevin Kisner with literally drugged out eyes there. It's kind of funny. Also past winner here. Just like Kevin Na, this is a course that he knows he's got a chance to go win. Also past winner at the Dell match play and did very well, again this year. So all over Kevin Kisner. And then you got Mr. Brian Harmon, also past success here, hasn't won here, but a lot of success. And this is a perfect fit for him. And been playing really good golf, good putter. I like him. And then last but not least, we're going to go with a guy that's a member at the course who's had some success here, just hasn't won it, didn't have the best showing last year. His game's been a bit on and off, but we had a really nice showing at the Byron Nelson. So if he could bring that over also again and maybe win at his home course this time, that'd be awesome. So that is my top 15 plays. Let's talk a little bit of one and done. So I only picked 5 guys for you, and a lot of them we just talked about. I wasn't going to, put in the JTs and the Schefflers. I don't think you're going to spin those guys at the Charles SCHWAB. Now, knock yourself out, whatever you want to do there if you have them. But these 5 right here, I think, are really good plays. And I think I told you guys, even before I did any analysis, I put in Kevin Na right off the bat for my one and done. But these are the guys, if you have any of these guys available, you don't want to, I don't think, want to waste a guy that you're going to want at the major or during the FedEx Cup. But these guys are easily all could win. And this is a tournament that I would kind of lean more. If you're ever going to use Kevin Na, here are the Shriners. Same with Kisner, Answer, either of them or, like I said, a WGC's FedEx St. Jude. I told you Berger's done just amazing there. So it's up to you, but that's the top 5 guys right now. Kevin Na's plugged in for me. All right. With that said, that is my show. That is my picks. I gave you my top 15. I gave you one and done. I gave you all the analysis. You can go with what I'm thinking. My narratives of not wanting to play the guys that, were in that fight and contention at the PGA. That's my narrative. That's the reason I'm going with. And I'm going to go with the guys that I know, have done well here. And this course just fits them. And that's my way I'm going. So if you do me the honor, thank you for spending some time with me. Click that like button. Share this with anybody else that you think might want to that's not subscribed. And hey, if you're checking me out for some odd reason for the first time, I hope you like what I do. Click that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it greatly. You get, I do 3 shows a week, and all I do is focus on golf. That is it. So definitely the reason why you might want to do that. And last but not least, hit me up on Twitter if I can help you, or YouTube comments. If you got any questions, if you're kind of in between a guy, if you're, one and done, whatever it is, I'll give you my opinion. Sometimes it's not always correct, but it's my opinion at the time, and it's typically backed with everything I see in data. So with that said, hey, let's have a great Charles SCHWAB, and I will have my Before the Lock show. And hey, I'm going to add something. So there was a request from a subscriber wanting what I thought from a GPP perspective is my best lineup. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is give you guys my best GPP lineup, but it's going to be 5. I'm not going to give you all 6 because everybody's, I think there'll be a lot of duplications, but I'm going to give you my 5 guys, let you fill in the 6th guy. I'm going to share that with you guys tomorrow too. So check me out on Before the Lock tomorrow. We're going to get ownership projections. We're going to talk weather. Going to give you my 5 best cheapy plays. All that will be tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a great evening. Talk to you later.